Okay, welcome to Yogic Integrated Living with Nam Joti. Here again with Dr. Siri Atma Singh Khalsa, and we are going to talk about service. So, in your most recent book, and I've heard you teach and a lot, you say like the whole point of it all is service, right? We need to serve. And in fact, there was this quote in your book that hasn't come out yet, but when it does, I'll drop the link in below the video for people to get it. You said, in the process of healing yourself, you have to serve others. If you focus on how to nurture others, you'll learn how to nurture yourself. And I was like, red flag, no, wait, there's this pitfall where I see people serving to the point of exhaustion, not nurturing. But recently I was reading your other book, Divine Relationships, that you wrote with your wife. And there was a great line in there that said, serving is not running around doing things for people, but allowing others to take from you what they need. And I was curious if you could talk more about that.
So when I think about service and I look at people who are doing, I think about what is the difference between codependency and service. Because a lot of times what people are doing is codependency, not service. And when somebody's running around working themselves to exhaustion, I can guarantee that there's codependency there. So codependency has two aspects to it. One, you as the doer, you have some idea of the way you want the outcome to be. All right? And second, when you serve a person, they become independent and strong. And you remain independent and strong.
That's a beautiful differentiation.
Very important.
Right. So do you have an example or a metaphor? You always have good ones.
The example of this is always we see it most common when there's addiction in a family member. And everybody wants that person to get better. And the person never does. Why is that? So that's a time when people are not watching their boundaries. They're not asking, what is my job here? What is the patient's job here? What is God's role here? And if they are doing more than their job, then they are being codependent with that person. They're not making him strong or her strong and independent. And the ultimate is that people are afraid that this person that's doing the drugs is going to die. And that is the gun that the person who's doing the drugs is holding to their head. Basically saying, your fear that I'm going to die is what I'm doing to manipulate you to give me what I want, even though you know that it's not in my best interest. I mean, I have seen people that the ultimate examples, a person who is a C3 quad, he can only move these two fingers just a little bit, and he's addicted to alcohol.
And people are giving it to him, right? They're bringing it to him and putting it down his throat.
They're putting it in a peg tube. So that's a lot of codependency.
Right. So what about the opposite? Like serving someone and helping them become stronger and staying stronger yourself? Do you have any examples of that? I think we don't have as many of those. That's what I need to just see more of and hear more about.
Remember what I said about people holding the pen above the table, and
Yeah.
the pen has its own resting place. In every relationship, there is a natural resting place. And if you just wait and watch and feel and be present and keep somebody company, you will find where their resting place is. And you can be right there with them, but you're not holding them up. They're having to swim. So you just keep being there. Your presence in this case is just an inspiration. They see what does a spiritual teacher give a student? A spiritual teacher gives a student a living example of somebody who is willing to take it to the ultimate, which is death. Do what's right. And we'll see what God wants. Is it going to be death or not? We don't know. But we're going to do what's right and let that be God's choice. And in this, you see that you do learn that God takes care of you. In this, you get the experience of the infinite. You get the experience that you are the infinite, created by the infinite, cared for by the infinite. That it's all the infinite, that the other person's the infinite. This is where you get all these experiences. And death is the ultimate victory and obstacle.
We went from service to death.
Because the person is manipulating you into serving them in a codependent fashion.
Okay.
Because you're afraid they're going to die.
Right. And in this sense,
do you also serve yourself in a codependent fashion because you're afraid to die? You know, that's the way it is always sold. If you don't do this, if you don't do that, then you're going to go to hell. And if you do this and you do that, then you're going to go to heaven. But again, that's all ego polarity driven stuff. It's beginning stuff. That's your beginning of religion.
Yeah.
That's your setting pod. Before you've even come to the part of cutting pod where you realize that there's something unique in you that God has created that is here to deliver something. That's cutting pod.
Yeah.
And in Shakti pod, you have mastered your skill, or you're mastering your skill. But the question is, do you sell it for Maya or do you serve mankind?
Okay.
And that's the choice. That's the test.